everyone. My name is Ramya Krishnamurthy, and I'm an engineer at Momento. I work on the backend services team where we build the services behind Momento's serverless caching product, serverless messaging products.
Awesome. So you've been working a lot with Rust as a part of our service building. So actually, if we look at our original services, they were originally in Kotlin. So if Rust is so good, why did we start in Kotlin?
Well, when we were starting off, our initial focus was to get the product out in front of customers as fast as we could, and we wanted to iterate on features at that time rather than focus on performance. Kotlin was familiar to most of the team, and it is performant enough at the time.
Yeah, for sure. There was no learning curve for Kotlin because everybody was already working with it previously. And I hear that the steep learning curve for Rust is one of the barriers it has. So then what was our biggest reason to move from Kotlin to Rust?
So as our product matured and we were gaining more customers, we started focusing on how we could offer more consistent and predictable low latencies. Um, High tail latencies was a problem that we were running into with the Kotlin stack, mainly because of garbage collection issues. And Rust helped us get over that bottleneck.
Yeah, yeah. I think in other materials and blog posts, we talk about how great our tail latencies look, especially predictable at load is the thing that we want to ensure for our customers. So after working with Rust for so long, what's your favorite thing about Rust and what's your least favorite thing about Rust?
So, coming from a C, C++ background, I'm very familiar with subtle race condition bugs where the same pointer or piece of data is being uh, written to by multiple threads.
Mm.
And this can cause serious issues in production, which are extremely hard to debug. And Rust memory safety features, most notably its ownership model, makes it very hard to write these kind of bugs because they would be caught at compile time. So, for example, um, Rust ensures that only there can be only one owner for a mutable reference at any point
Mm.
in time. So there is no way that you can pass a mutable reference across threads. That in itself eliminates a whole category of bugs.
And it moves it to compile time, you say. So
Yeah.
forces the developer to do a better job during development so that you can catch these bugs early.
Yeah, I would say in C, it's very easy to get your code to compile.
Mm.
And then you will run into a lot of surprises at runtime. But in Rust, it's the opposite. So you have to spend a lot more effort upfront getting your code to compile. But if it compiles, there is a fairly reasonable uh, chance that it will run correctly.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think that a lot of developers optimize for getting something working
Mm.
ASAP. So maybe that's why you hear about the steep learning curve with Rust because it takes a while to get it to the point where it compiles. And the annoying thing about these runtime bugs in something like C is that because it's arrays, it's not always deterministic. You're not always to reproduce it in the same way, right? So I
Yeah.
think to your point, it gets tricky to debug.
Yeah. And there have been so many instances where, adding an extra logging statement in C would get rid of bugs. Yeah, that's much that class of problems is minimized with
That's
Rust.
great. That's great. So the second part of my question, the least favorite thing
Mhm.
about Rust.
I would say it's the fact that the async, Rust doesn't offer a built-in async runtime, so you're dependent on third-party runtimes, and it's not very easy to switch between them. So if you've decided to use Tokyo, for example, you have to work with Tokyo and get over, find workarounds for any issues that you might encounter. It's not very easy to like switch to a different runtime.
Got it. Got it. So something to note if you're considering Rust. So I've had some friends talk about, learning Rust in their spare time. What about students? Like if you're new to computer science, do you think college students should be learning Rust early on in their career?
So, yeah, I definitely think that it helps to learn Rust in college. I would probably not recommend it as your very first programming language. I think it's better to get started with something that has like a shorter learning uh, curve, like maybe JavaScript or Python.
Mm.
But for a low level programming language, I think it really helps to learn Rust because the concepts that you will learn while you're picking up Rust will help you understand how your code interacts with hardware in general. And it will also like help you pick up other low level programming languages in future.
Yeah, I know that when I was in school, I did pick up C and C++, and it forced me to understand some of the fundamentals for memory management. But to your point, practicality, sort of considering that in real life, it's much easier to work in Rust to prevent bugs early on in the development process. Okay, and the last question, would you recommend Rust to a software team?
Yeah, it depends a lot upon what exactly is the problem that you're trying to solve. Um, if if I was building a proof of concept, for example, I would not choose Rust because I just want to get something working as fast as I can. If I was writing like a web application also that doesn't get a lot of traffic and does not need to be very performant, I might be better off going with one of the existing stacks, like node stacks. Um, I'd say that even though like Rust is now gaining some traction in more higher level scenarios, instead of just systems programming, there are still like a lot of languages that have much better support in terms of like the ecosystem and the whole variety of libraries that are available. And they might be a better fit for the specific domain um, where you're trying to solve a problem.
Yeah, makes sense. Even though that it's much more versatile now, it still started as a language that was being compared with C and C++
Yeah. Like, for
a lot.
example, like for data science, Python has a lot of libraries available. If I was writing something to do with like data analysis or like a statistical application, I'd be better off using Python.
Totally. Makes sense. Well, this was fun and helpful. Thank you very much for your time today.